yourself.
Hi everyone! Welcome to the Vegan Soul Sister channel. I'm Joey and this is
Talk Story with a Plant-Based Newbie.
Which means in Hawaiian, e kama ilio me mako na kanaka ayaola mea kanuho. Aloha, my name is Oli and I have a son over there. His name is Oli. He might be making a little bit noise, so don't mind. You know how kids go sometimes. So I am actually from Waihioka, Hilo, Hawaii. Raised on a farm. I was raised to eat whatever was on the farm, including animals.
Yeah. Are you full Hawaiian?
I'm actually, she has more Hawaiian than me. I just look it and I speak it, and we have this saying in Hawaiian to put our hands down on the ground. Huli kolima ilalo. So that's something that I grew up with, is always working in a farm.
I'm Sheri. I'm over half Hawaiian. I'm 55% Hawaiian, and I have some Japanese and Chinese in there. I grew up kind of like Oli. We had a farm where we grew guavas, and my grandfather grew papayas, and we had a maili farm where we spent a lot of time on the land farming, making leis, and picking guavas. So that was our exercise.
Yeah.
Went from a very small. I still live at our farm, but I'm not growing anything but weeds. So but I do,
not on purpose.
Yeah, I do live on Hawaiian homeland, which you have to be 50% to live on the land, and the land is for farming, to grow things. It's the agriculture land. But one day, I want to grow taro and different things so I can make my own.
Same thing with my family. Well, we don't live in Hawaiian homes, but we do have a house in Waihioka on ag lots. When I was younger, we did a lot of planting with the kalo, growing uala, which is sweet potato. Nowadays, my family, we're just super busy. We're working. I'm even working full time, and so our hands are not in the land as much
Taro
as we
and
want.
ulu, I mean, lots of starch-based stuff. So traditionally, can you talk about what Hawaiian food is?
Yes, there was a lot of poi, there was a lot of uala, and actually what I found out doing research with, at UH Hilo, I actually graduated from UH Hilo, come to find out that they didn't eat too much meat back in the day. Only during certain time where the ali'i might get more meat than the commoners. And
so ali'i.
Oh, ali'i, the chiefs or the chiefesses. So but what they did was they did a lot of agricultural work. They did kalo farming, so they had a lot of poi, they had a lot of ulu, and they had
fish.
Fish was a major things that they could trade off.
Meat was kapu,
yes.
Forbidden.
So from what I know, because, and I'm pretty sure you're Ohana too, my great-great-grandfather, he was pure Hawaiian, and hearing stories, he was about maybe close to 7 feet tall, really nice, muscular people, not fatty people, not like nowadays.
So healthy.
Healthy and
from
always
the land,
working.
Yeah.
So whenever they ate, they were working their hands back to the ground or working in the ocean or doing something.
So a really strong tradition of health and wellness and working the land.
That's same for my grandfathers. They're both Hawaiians. They live by the beach. My grandfather would always go and throw nets and get fish, and always down at the beach. So my mother, she ate a lot of fish growing up, and so growing up, that's what I ate a lot. At least 3 times a week I would eat fish. I never really cared for meat, but I did. But a lot of fish in the family.
Yeah. And so you have some ties to that now.
Yes.
Are there some stories that stick out around fish or fishing that you particularly remember?
I remember my mother and her sisters, they call it palu.
Oh, yes.
And they would get the fish, and they would break the fish apart and put Hawaiian salt and eat it with the bones. And
so this is raw.
Yes,
so straight from the ocean.
Yes, straight from the ocean. And I just remember it being a happy time. My mother and her sisters eating that and talking stories, and it just kind of warmed
we
my
grew
heart,
up fish as well. Meat and fish, but the fish was like a gold for us.
My family has diabetes, and my husband's family, they have cancer, and my in-laws died really young, like in their 60s, and they ate mostly pork. And
do you remember thinking, my in-laws died young because of the way they were eating.
I didn't make that connection. I just thought, genetic maybe. And,
Yeah.
and then my grandmothers both, died of diabetes, the complication of diabetes. So I didn't want to be like that.
So I know that your husband is in his 40s.
Yes.
And you know that his parents died early.
Yes.
So before you thought about plant-based, because I know you guys have talked a lot about that, but before, what were you thinking as you looked at your husband approaching his 60s?
I'm a little scared. I'm like, I don't want to lose him at a young age of 60. If I can help and we can change our diet and eat plant-based, then we can reverse that, And so, and that's his fear too. And so just eating healthier plant-based. So he's been on board, and he's noticed that a change. Can I mention that when he ate pork and eating plant-based and then going out to dinner and eating chicken and pork, and then he would be like dying of heartburn and sore stomach and telling me in the middle of the night, I think I need to be a vegetarian because it's sore, so
but before that, had he ever mentioned something like that?
Never did. Yeah. So
wow,
it's
that's
been
remarkable.
eye-opening, for us, and it's been a positive change for us.
We're getting these husbands on board.
Yeah.
That's been an unexpected joy for me, because everybody who sat here who has a partner has all brought your partners along on it.
And he brought, when we started the Veganuary, and I went to your house and you made that smoothie, and I'm like, I want a Vitamix too, and he went and bought me one, and
he bought a Vitamix.
And I've been making smoothies. We've been making smoothies for our children and for us every day. And it's been.
What did your doctor say about your fruit intake?
He told me just 2 pieces of, like an apple and orange a day.
A day.
A day.
So can you talk us through that story?
Okay, and then so I went to the doctor, and he told me to eat, limit my fruits, and then so I was worried. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna go and my sugar's gonna be high, and I've been eating all this carbs, and he told me to limit it. And then when I went to the doctors on February 1st, he told me that my cholesterol went down because you're not eating meats, and he told me that my sugar didn't go up because of the carbs and the fruits. So I've been happy, so I can still continue eating this way, and my numbers are good.
So and in the process, you probably taught him a little something or two, because he out of his mouth said limit to 2 fruits a day, and here you come in saying, did you specifically tell him I'm doing this plant-based thing?
Yeah, I told him I'm doing a plant-based eating, and with my Zumba instructor, and that I've been eating a lot of carbs, and I have been eating a lot of fruits, and I haven't been eating meat. And he's like, oh, no wonder your cholesterol went down. And
so he must be like,
yeah. So I was, happy, and he's like, good job, you're doing great. So I'm like, oh, thank God.
That's so good.
I was a little scared because I was like, I don't want to have to change.
So now how are you feeling about that?
I feel good. I feel good, and I know that I can continue eating like this. I can eat the carbs. I can eat a lot of fruit, and my numbers are still going to be
Proof
good.
of concept.
Yes.
Because you've got to be your own best investigator. If you have ailments, you've got to figure out what's working for you.
Yeah.
And so now you have your first proof, this is working.
And I was afraid because I was like, I don't want to have to go and take medicine, and I was going to go back, and he was like, you're going to have to tell me, like, you're going to take medicine. So I was a little worried. I was like, I'm just going to do this challenge and hope for the best. And it's proven that it's my numbers is good, so I'm happy. I can continue eating like this, and I'm happy.
So that just is so amazing.
For me, as a 5-year-old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. We had to change from eating really, really bad food to eating more of a diet. Back then, what they considered diabetic. So scared, because thinking that one day I won't have my legs. Yeah,
you actually thought
my dad.
This.
Oh, sorry, my dad and my mom, because I gained so much weight. What happened during summertime was my eyesight started to come funny kind. Like, no,
it did?
But it had luckily it wasn't nothing to do with my diabetes. So I had
still scary.
Yeah, scary. Yeah. Something scary happened to me, related to blood pressure though. To my eyes, I couldn't see that good in one of my eyes. Luckily, it got better, but that triggered something. Luckily, I had this friend who encouraged me to take Zumba classes. And look, I'm here with Joey, our instructor.
Yeah, Kalani is another phenomenal woman. She was in our vegan plant luck video, and hopefully one day she'll sit down with us. But that's who brought you to Zumba.
She's the one who encouraged me to come to Zumba, and from there I got more involved.
One of the stories that was the most compelling, you were telling at one of our group, like in November, about your son during his interview.
Oh yes.
Oh gosh, this is So how old is he?
He's 10, and he spoke about wanting to be a scientist because he wanted to find a cure for cancer because his grandparents died too young from cancer, and it's really hard for him, and he wants to find a cure. He wants to make better choices, so he's been trying really hard, trying new foods that have been making.
So did you know that he was thinking about things like that?
No, I didn't, because he went for the interview, and I wasn't there with him in the interview. He just spoke about what he wants to be in the future.
Because we were trying to make that connection. The very first group, you had gotten there early, and you were talking about kind of some of the things that you were changing, but that you were still making spam musubi for him.
Yeah.
And so I was really trying to figure out like how to help you make that connection between, if you think it's good for you, it's going to be good for your son.
Yes.
So when you told me that, I was thinking, well, he's ready. He needs, I mean, if ever a kid showed signs of being ready, he's specifically saying, I want a way to not let that happen to me.
Yeah. He even spoke to his friends about, I showed him that videos that you posted, and about the egg, and he was mentioning to his friends, you know where that comes from? That comes from their butt. And they're like, well, it's still healthy, it's eggs, it's protein. And he's like, oh, he was mentioning that, so he's telling his little friends about, trying to eat healthier.
Were you surprised that he was that receptive?
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I made him sit down and look at those videos, and he's telling me like, Mom, you're making me change my mind. You're making me not want to eat meat and eggs and all of these things, these types of foods. But also he feels that,
this is my son Chloe. He's very tired, so I'm gonna be holding him. So my dad at the beginning, he kind of was like the one who told me, he'll bring the meat in front of me and be like, look, I brought meat home.
He was sabotaging you a little bit.
But I think because he's noticing the changes in my body now. This past weekend, he actually told me, oh, you should keep on doing what you're doing. You're looking better, and your weight is going down. Because I took a picture of me, how much I weigh, and he's actually proud of me. So I think it just took that 1 month for him to see, the changes that I'm going through, that he's supporting me now.
Because 2 weeks ago, you and I had a meeting here together.
Yes.
And we were talking about some of the concerns and some of the sadness around.
Yes.
Because what was he doing before?
He was actually telling me, oh, you need to lose weight, but in a meaner. In his mind, it's not mean.
Right.
In his mind, it's more to support me and to help me.
But for
me, it was an emotional state. Like, you telling me not to do that, I'm gonna do the opposite. But when this veganary challenge started, I was like, you know what? No, I cannot do that. I have to stick to this thing. You know what? I'm noticing improvements in my body, and starting from the beginning, I lost a few pounds.
How many pounds?
Okay, so I gotta say, from Zumba time, I lost about 17 pounds.
So how are you surviving through the Zumba classes? Because at the beginning,
I was really
struggling, right?
Struggling. Now I'm like, I can do this. Keep on breathing. Go. And I'm like less tired. Like at the beginning, you're like tired, but then when you're in it, I'm like energized. I can do it more. Oh, what? We're done? No.
And you wore the other day. You wore this all shorts. Black spandex and little shorts, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really could see.
I did this close.
I really
but
could
yeah,
see.
I did lose weight, and my clothes are not as tight as what they used to be, and more energy, more support. My mom is on board too with this, and you know what? More spices in my life, which is cumin and curry.
Cumin and curry. Do you guys have any advice for the newbies out there? And we're talking specifically about diabetes because that's what your struggle was.
Yes.
So somebody watching that's like, oh, does that really help? Like, is there any advice that you can give them, or any tips or something that you learned or want to pass on, wisdom?
It works. I mean, I went to the doctor, and if my numbers are good, and I feel better, I don't have to take medicine. And this is what I was afraid of, that I had to take medicine. So eating plant-based has really worked for me and my family, and I'm going to continue to do this so that I can be around for my family.
And the quality of life while you're around. So when you go to Disney World next, or Disneyland, which one did you go to?
I went to Disneyland, and I looked at pictures. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to lose weight. I'm like not healthy. I'm like, I feel it. And so that was like 2 years ago, and I just went to my first Zumba class. I lost like 30 pounds.
Oh my,
and
30
and
pounds.
you know, I feel better. I feel healthy. I feel so much better. Just time, you know, trying to rebalance and refocus and know what is important. My health is important.
Yes.
So to eat healthier, to exercise, and everything will just fall in place. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, when you start with you, we think that's a selfish thing, but actually when you start with you, then the things around really do find balance.
Yeah, and you're such a model because you're like from the inside out, you know, and you taught us that in our Zumba class. And my doctor told me before that you have to go join a Weight Watchers, a group, and I was like, I went to Zumba, and you helped us, you know, with the inside eating and, you know, and exercising and just living a healthy lifestyle. So thank you so much.
Oh gosh, it's my pleasure. You see all the joy that I get out of it. You've seen the other interviews. But for those of you who might be struggling, one of the things that everybody keeps saying is the support group. The support. So you find yourself a support.
Yes.
For me, I struggle doing things on my own. So when I have a group with me, it's way better. You can have that support and then ask questions. Luckily, I have friends who's Joy.
Yeah.
We call her Joy.
Joy. Who we interviewed last week. So catch Joy and Daryl.
She and we were like talking, like after Zumba we talk about it. During school we talk about it, and you know what? It's awesome to have that support.
I had the same support at school, you know, and when they found out I was doing this and trying to change my eating habits, I have a few coworkers that are vegan and vegetarian, and they would bring me avocados, they would bring me chia pudding, they would share with me recipes, and they would encourage me and say, you're starting off the new year really well, good job, you know, they would tell me, and just check in with me, and then I would talk with Daryl at work and Amy at work about how this challenge is going. And so just a lot of support. My husband supporting me when I wanted to give up. He would say, okay, I'm going to help you cook. So, you know, because he didn't want me, that's the challenge trying to find recipes in the beginning. But with the support, you know, it's been really good.
So your husband is a police officer.
Yeah.
He recently had a potluck.
Yeah, and he did tell his coworkers. We went to our potluck, and Oli made a vegan chocolate cake, which was so good. So I told him, taste this, and he went and he made a cake right after, and he took one to work, and they all ate it.
So the policeman's potluck, they had vegan chocolate cake.
And they didn't know.
No, we want them to know.
Good
in their mind. There's no such thing as good.
You guys ate vegan cake. You guys heard that?
Next goal, turn the entire police force vegan. Okay, long goal, but you know, we're working on it. One policeman at a time. Yeah, it's important to have that support group. I think that's one of the things that is loud and clear. Find a community, find your tribe that will support you in this. And sometimes they might not be an obvious support, right? Like your parents. At the beginning, they were like
supporting in a different way, but
no, you were in here very upset.
Oh, actually,
you know, you were in here very upset, and so whatever you did in order to get over that hump, now you get to see people who are like, oh, wow, I see it, and then now they're on board. So those, if you feel like you have people who are sabotaging you, they might come around. So give them a little bit of a break.
Yes.
And keep talking about it.
Yes. Even bringing it up to them. So I did talk to my dad about it. You know what? He told me, you know, that's the only way he can think of supporting me. But seeing that I'm improving, he's getting, you know, he's turning his table a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Tiny bit. It's only been 6 weeks since January. I mean, we really are. It's been a blip of time.
Yeah. So it's good to have family support as well.
Yes.
I don't crave the meats, just the fish, but I'm working on that.
So the fish.
Yeah.
The connection.
Yeah, the connection with the culture, the fish, and just it's just makes me happy fish, but I'm trying to. I'll probably maybe eat it twice a month for now, and maybe eventually, stop.
And we have watched Seaspiracy,
Yes.
which is a great film, really highlighting the
Yeah.
devastation that's happening in our ocean. So you're very clear on that.
Yeah.
But that's the point. So there are things that we can be really clear on and have facts, but the emotional connections and the
Yes.
cultural connections that we have to things and people and foods and rituals and cultures, those are really powerful, and we can't just negate it and be like, well, stop.
Yeah.
We do have to think about it and talk about it and figure out strategies around it. That's super important.
Yeah.
So for right now, your strategy is we'll definitely decrease it. I
Yeah.
mean, once or
Yes.
twice a month. That's
Yeah, after watching Seaspiracy, I was eating my fish, and I was like, oh, I see blood over here. I was like, oh, and I was thinking of the video, but I mean,
so you're awake.
I'm awake. Yeah, I'm aware. It's making an impact, but I'm.
For me, I am gonna keep on going on this path. I'm slowly bringing him on that path because I see how I'm changing, and I don't want him to struggle with what I have been struggling.
You guys are so aware and so conscious and reading and questioning. That's really good. I really appreciate the two of you guys coming and sharing your stories, because I think it's really important for people to hear how people make the transition, why people make the transition to people, because we can trade off stories and find where there's similarities. Because I didn't realize that you guys are so similar.
Not until we talked.
So yeah, cool. Very cool. So thank you very much for being here. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us yet again. Please comment below if you have any questions for these two. If you have any questions about Hawaiian history, these are the ones.
To answer
and
them
please
for you.
share this video with a plant-based newbie or one of your Hawaiian friends or community members, anybody who might have questions about plant-based health. We really want this information to get out to them. So, and then of course, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. So until next time, we really appreciate you. Thank you. Ahui ho!
'Cause you win some, you lose some. But if you learn your lesson, you ain't lose none. I faced a lot of tests, but I ain't lose.